Good morning. For today's lesson, we're going to discuss about exposure, vulnerability, and capacity. The objectives of this lesson is the student should be able to number 1, recognize the vulnerabilities of different elements exposed to specific hazards. Number 2, differentiate among hazards, exposure, vulnerabilities, and capacities, and give examples from actual situations.
Vulnerability. Ang vulnerability in this context kay kapasabot sa lack of full capacity or simply inability sa usa ka individual to anticipate, na mo-cope, mo-iwas, o recover gikan sa mga impact either sa natural or man-made hazards. Ang example ani kay katong makita nato sa news nga mga nasalanta sa bagyo. So there are 4 types of vulnerability. Ang una is physical vulnerability. The physical vulnerability of an area depends on its geographic proximity to the source and origin of the disasters. For example, imong balay kay duol sa fault line. Then, pasabot na mas vulnerable ka sa lindol. Second is the economic vulnerability. So, economic vulnerability depends on the economic status of an individual, communities, and nations. Kadalasan nga apektado kay mga low-income workers. Ug the more nga pobre ang usa ka country, the more chance nga vulnerable sila sa mga disasters. The third one is social vulnerability. Due to inability of people, organization, and communities to prevent effects from hazard, more problems occurred. For example, pag na-delay ang delivery sa relief goods, na siya'y possible negative effect, such as shortage of food supply. The last one is attitudinal vulnerability. Ngunit itong mga tao nga dependent ra sa mga gipanghatag sa laing tao. Katuyo itong mga tao nga di mo tuo nga pwede pa mabago ilang ways of living, basta maningkamot lang. Pero sadly, kadalasan sila mahimong biktima sa mga gubot, bantog ang ilang capacity of coping pag na-disaster kay mas baba.
The difference among the hazards, vulnerabilities, and capacities. Hazards. Hazards is a source of or a situation with a potential for harm in terms of human injury or ill health, damage to property, damage to the environment, or a combination of these. An unwanted event is a situation or condition where there is a loss of control of the hazard that leads to harm. So in short, hazard is a source of danger. It often categorized by whether naturally or technological or man-made hazard. So natural hazard, it is naturally occurring physical phenomena caused either by rapid or slow onset. It can be geophysical, hydrological, climatological, meteorological, biological. So example sa geophysical is earthquake, landslide, and tsunamis. Then sa hydrological, example ani is floods. Then climatological, extreme temperature, drought, and wildfires rather. Then meteorological, like cyclones and storm surge. Sa biological, ang example ani is mga disease, epidemics, and insects or animal plagues. Then the second one is technological or the man-made hazard. It is an event that caused by humans. These can include environmental degradation, pollution, and accidents. Then exposure. It is the location, attributes, and value of assets that are important to communities, people, buildings, factories, farmland, etc., and that could be affected by a hazard. the situation of people, infrastructure, housing, production capacities, and other tangible human assets located in hazard-prone area. So, exposure, location that could affect by a hazard. So, example ani is a building with multiple floors by I may be more vulnerable to shaking from an earthquake and more likely to collapse than one-story building. So kibali if kanang ang building na habog na gid siya kaayo, prone na gid na siya diba sa naragay siya tendency nga mag-collapse if ever earthquake na moabot. Then another example is kung nagtukod ka og balay daplin sa river or daplin sa kilid sa kanang na mga pangpang bitaw na prone pa siya sa kanang vulnerable na inyong balay kay bali delikado na siya ba na in danger na ang inyong balay, na exposed na siya sa hazards, then vulnerable na sad siya. Then vulnerabilities, the likelihood that assets will be damaged, destroyed, affected when exposed to hazard. Then as what I have said nga, if ever nga ay mong balay na dapat siya sa kanang river, so vulnerable na siya sa kanang sa bahabit sa floods kay dapat naman siya sa sa river bitaw niya. Tapos pag magkusog-kusog ang ulan ay bagyo mo abot, so nagi tendency nga mabahaan or di ba maanod ang inyong balay. Vulnerabilities is a quality or state of being exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed either physically or emotionally. Then last is the capacities. It is the capacity of being prepared within a community, organization, or society to reduce disaster risk and strengthen resilience. So, kapasidad sa isa ka community kung unsa sila ka ready if ever calamity comes. Example ani is naay mga warning signs kibali kana nga lugar kung ano siya, prone na siya sa floods, magbutang tadira og mga signs. Then prone kana padira nga area, prone siya sa landslide, na ay mga warning signs nga ibutang dira nga delikado dira dili ta dira nga na. Then evacuation. So if ever calamity, na ay mga kalamidad nga moabot sa tong kanibong gidanato mapungan niya na mga calamity nga mo attacked sa atoa, so ready na ta nga ang kanang tao nga ma-save na to sila na sila evacuation center nga ilahang ma-evacuatean if ever nga ang ilang balay is kanang delikado na bitaw na kanang in danger na bitaw ang kanang palibot bitaw. Then mga gamit pang rescue kanang emergency kit, mga if ever kabali na ani mga kalamidad nga maabot kanang ready na ka sila mag-rescue bitaw na kumpleto na ang ilahang mga gamit. So that's all for today. Thank you for listening, my dear classmates and mom. Thank you.